And there she was, staring down the right bunker at Greyhawk, rewriting college golf history one swing at a time. She tied Tiger Woods' single-season win record at Stanford, then stepped into her first LPGA start as a pro and won it, and people still ask if she's ready. The player? Rose Zhang. And the real question isn't whether she belongs, it's how far this is about to go. Here's what most fans don't realize. Winning your LPGA debut hadn't happened in 72 years. Rose did it in a playoff first event. First spotlight. First statement, and somehow, her story still flies under the radar outside of golf diehards. So what kind of golfer walks into the sport, breaks a 72-year barrier, ties Tiger's Stanford legacy, and makes it look effortless? Why isn't the world paying more attention to the player who might be the next defining superstar in women's golf? Let's find out. Rose Zhang, just 22 years old, is already a Stanford legend, two-time NCAA individual champion, and the first woman in history to win back-to-back titles. She racked up 12 collegiate victories in only 20 starts, the most Stanford has ever seen. But what truly separates her isn't just how much she wins. It's when she wins. Zhang has a habit of delivering at the exact moment pressure should break everyone else. Hold on to that ideal wheel, circle back to it. Her story starts in Southern California, shaped by parents who pushed for balance, curiosity, and multi-dimensional growth. Her junior career didn't just rise. It skyrocketed, highlighted by her 2020 U.S. Women's Amateur triumph. She always had natural talent, but it was the way she played that made coaches and analysts stop and pay attention. Rose was deliberate, calm, disciplined traits that don't just translate to the professional game. They define careers at the highest level. Then came June 2023 at the Mizuho, America's Open. Zhang had barely turned professional. It was her first week as an LPGA golfer, her first real taste of the big leagues. Expectations were modest. Rookies aren't supposed to shake the entire sport in 7 days. But one round in, she was hovering near the top of the leaderboard. And by Sunday, she was standing toe-to-toe with veterans in a playoff. And then she finished it calmly. Clinically, like she'd done it 100 times before. Her first LPG, a start. Her first LPGA win, something nobody had accomplished since 1951. Overnight, the question wasn't whether Rose Zhang belonged. It was how long before she would do it again. May 2024. Cognizant. Founders Cup. The pressure was suffocating. Zhang wasn't leading, she was chasing. But then, slowly, almost methodically, the shift happened. A birdie, then another, then another. The kind of quiet momentum that only the greats can build. By the time she walked up to the 18th, the crowd could feel the current pulling in her direction. She was closing in on Madeline Sagstrom, closing in fast. And when she sealed the win, she didn't just take a trophy. She snapped world no. Won Nelly Korda's 5-tournament win streak. The single hottest run women's golf had seen in years. This wasn't luck. It wasn't a hot weekend. It was proof of a pattern, the kind of composure that shows up when everyone else begins to tighten up. That's the trait that separates prodigies from legends. And by then, it was becoming clear. Rose wasn't just winning tournaments. She was announcing what kind of career she was built for, before long. Her individual dominance pushed her into an even bigger spotlight, one that demanded more than trophies. More than potential, more than hype, if you'd like. I can continue directly into the next chapter: Solheim Cup pressure, major expectations, or her projected impact on the future of women's golf. Rose Zhang didn't have to wait long to prove she could handle pressure beyond individual tournaments. Her rookie season threw her straight into the Solheim Cup. A completely different kind of test where she wasn't playing for herself, but for her country. In 2023, she faced Europe on foreign soil, a tough environment where the U.S. battled hard, but Europe kept the trophy. By 2024, the event returned to American ground, and this time the script flipped. Team USA reclaimed the Solheim Cup, and Zhang played a key role in that redemption. It was a fast, intense introduction to team pressure, and she handled it with the maturity of someone far beyond her years. The reason her game moves so smoothly from college dominance to the world stage is simple: she plays with control first, then power. Her contact is clean, her rhythm never wavers, and when the tension rises, she hits fairways and greens while others start slipping. We saw the proof during the Founders Cup, where she actually became sharper as the final holes got more stressful. She doesn't rely on flash. She relies on consistency, and in professional golf. That's the kind of game that wins anywhere from windy links courses to tight playoff finishes. Rose Zhang isn't chasing quick wins or viral moments. She builds her game through small daily improvements and long-term habits. Even in early 2025, when most rising stars would chase every tournament, she chose a tougher path, balancing a lighter schedule while finishing her Stanford coursework. That discipline paid off. Her 2025 season began quietly with a top 10 finish at the Hilton Grand Vacations Tournament of Champions, followed by a break for winter classes. But when she returned months later, her rhythm snapped right back. By the FM Championship in late August, LPGA analysts were already pointing out how her form was sharpening again. The pattern was clear. Her baseline keeps rising steadily, and her ceiling still stretches wide open. It's not a perfect upward line, but the kind of consistent progress you get from someone balancing both school and spotlight with real maturity. And here's where the comparisons start. No, there's no next Tiger. Different eras, different circumstances, but the timeline similarities are impossible to ignore. A massively decorated Stanford career, then immediate impact as a pro. It mirrors Tiger's early trajectory. The point isn't that she's Tiger 2.0. The point is that she's hitting Tiger-like milestones on Tiger-like timing. And that alone earns the conversation without forcing a comparison that doesn't fit. So, why hasn't the sports world fully woken up to her rise? 2 reasons. First, timing: the men's game dominated mainstream headlines in 2002 4-5, with schedule drama and a few breakout stars stealing attention. Second, expectations: when someone this consistent plays with so much calm. People forget how rare that level of early excellence really is. Rose Zhang isn't loud, flashy, or polarizing. She just keeps winning. And sometimes, greatness that quiet takes a little longer for the wider world to notice. Public expectations shot up the moment Zhang won her first LPGA title. And suddenly, anything short of a major felt like she still had something to prove, even though she's already performing at an elite level for her age. Golf always evens the playing field. And when the early hype fades, what matters is whether a player can shape shots, stay patient, and grind through tough stretches, and Zhang consistently shows she can. Her swing is simple and efficient rather than flashy, built on a smooth takeaway and a controlled miss that holds up under pressure. She's also made intentional choices that reflect long-term thinking, like slowing down early in 2025 to finish a Stanford term before returning to competition refreshed. That balance isn't a publicity move, it's a strategy against burnout and a sign. She understands that a strong foundation outlasts early spotlight. By 22, she's already a multiple-time LPGA winner with one of the best college careers ever. Plus, a proven ability to close when it counts. Now the next phase is straightforward. Regular contention in majors and seasons where she's a Sunday fixture at the top of the leaderboard. That's the point where her story stops being about potential and starts being about true dominance. She doesn't need to be the next Tiger for that to happen. She just needs to keep being. Rose Zhang. She shattered records before most players even find their rhythm and won her first LPGA start as a professional, a launch most golfers can only dream about. If that's her baseline, imagine what her prime will look like. And at some point, the question won't be, is she ready? But rather, who's going to stop her? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Golf Hub for more golf stories and updates. Thanks for watching.